Hi, this is Roger McGuinn, and my favorite station is WMNF, Tampa, Florida.
The opinions presented on the Healthy Steps show are the evidence-based opinions of Dr. Fred Harvey, the callers, and his guests. These are not the opinions of the staff, the volunteers, or the board of WMNF. The information provided on the show is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease. There is no implied patient-physician relationship in these calls. The nature of the calls is educational and informational only.
Good morning to you, my worthy companion and listener. I can almost see your essence in the oscillation of the radio waves. And welcome to the Healthy Steps radio show here on WMNF Tampa, the only community-supported radio station that Clutch Cargo and his faithful dog Paddlefoot ever listen to, and you can stream us as well at WMNF.org. Well, goodness gracious alive, it is Ask Me Anything Monday. So listen up, my friend. I don't ask for much in this life, but I would like you to call in to the Healthy Steps radio show. Share your questions, comments, and concerns, and let's keep my favorite phone boss extraordinaire, Irene, busy this morning. Just give us a call at 813-239-9663. Again, that number is 813-239-9663. You can also send an email to dj@wmnf.org or text us at 813-433-0885. Good morning to you, Dr. Harvey. I hope that you had an awesome weekend and that you are now ready, willing, and able to direct us through another AMA Monday. Your dedicated and loyal listeners have waited a week for this moment, so let me burn some shoe leather and get out of your way. What is the lay of the land today, Doctor?
Well, happy Monday, Bill, and all my happy Healthy Steps listeners. It was a great weekend. I hope yours was too.
Indeed it was. Beautiful weekend and enjoyed every second of it.
Yes, indeed. So worth it. Did you get outside a bit?
Oh, quite a bit, just for purposes of doing stuff around the house. But then I've got a therapy dog that I walk twice a day, so that's really good. We take her to Moffat on Wednesdays, so got to keep her pumped up.
That's excellent, yes. And, it's so good to get outside. I just read another article, actually two back to back. One said that talk therapy is up and psychiatric medication use for anxiety and depression is down. That is a good sign. I really like that. And another article that came with it is, you just need your steps to get rid of that bad mood. Get outside and walk. And it really doesn't matter how many steps you get. They try to target, 10,000 or 5,000. But just get outside, especially in the morning. Getting sun on the back of your knees in the morning actually raises your mood. Think about that. Go out for a walk in shorts. This is shorts weather. Get some light on your body. You'll get some vitamin D. It's one of the most critical nutrients we can get, and you get it by... You can eat it, you can take supplements, but if you go out without sunblock on in the early morning and you have a little sweat on your body where there's some cholesterol in the sweat, the ultraviolet rays hit the vitamin D on your skin and convert it to cholecalciferol. That is vitamin D. It hits the cholesterol in your skin, turns cholesterol into cholecalciferol. Vitamin D is made from cholesterol, and ultraviolet rays change that. Then you have to leave it on your skin long enough to get it reabsorbed. You want to reabsorb all that stuff because you want that vitamin D in your body, not just on your skin. There's some other stuff, though, that you don't want on your skin. And there's this thing that I saw this weekend when I was out driving around. I had to do some errands, and I saw that there is a new campaign in Florida. There are billboards showing up. Disgusting billboards. Grotesque billboards. Billboards that say, defend glyphosate, Roundup. Because why not? We need poison for profits, don't we? Wow. I'm just blown away by the fact that these people have the brazen cojones to actually put up ads, billboards, telling you to call your congressman and tell them to vote to make sure that we can't sue Bayer Monsanto for the poisoning of our bodies and the creation of cancers in our bodies and the destruction of the microbiome of the planet with that wonderful chemical glyphosate. It is really pretty amazing. But, these people, these profiteers will never stop because they know they have a captive capitalist fascist audience in our government. Yes. And they frame this as supporting Florida farmers. The problem is that it's not supporting farmers, it's supporting industrial farming because you don't need glyphosate on small farms. Because on small farms, you can deal with this the right way. But there's this group called the Modern Ag Alliance. Sounds really strong. It's going to support farmers. It doesn't support small farmers. This is ag business stuff. And it goes way back. You know, back in Germany, in World War II, there was a chemical conglomerate. Its name is IG Farben. And IG Farben is one of the more disgusting companies on the planet because IG Farben strongly supported the Third Reich and it became Bayer. Or Bayer was part of this conglomerate. Bayer, you know, the aspirin people. Yeah, they had their aspirin patent taken away because they murdered people during World War II because they made the cyanide pills that the Nazis used in the death camps. Yeah, this is Bayer. This is its legacy. It creates chemicals. They say its chemicals are to help us. He said with a sinister laugh. But Bayer in the Holocaust, Bayer and IG Farben was the largest profiteer from the Second World War. Joseph Mengele loved this company because it helped support his bizarre experimentation on humans. And they are making inroads into Europe more and more with their Monsanto product. Glyphosate hadn't been used in Europe for a while, but it's getting a lot of promotion because, you know, this is a job creator, and job creators own our governments because we all have fascist governments. Yeah, fascism means that the government and the industry, the corporations, collude to do things to us. And so watch for these billboards and make sure that you fight against it because they're telling you to call your congressman and tell them to vote yes on two bills. The two bills are House Bill 129 and Senate Bill 992. It ensures that the poison for profit industry is the law of the land and that it becomes harder to sue these people for the destruction they're doing. Up to 40% of crops can be lost to weeds if we don't have people picking the weeds. And rather than paying people to pick the weeds because that would interrupt the profit of the big corporate farmers, we want to use a chemical to keep those people out of the field. We also want to use the chemical to kill off the microbiome in the ground, make it harder to grow other crops. But Florida is a major producer of corn and cotton, and 80% of corn relies on glyphosate. So you know it's been genetically manipulated and that it's being sprayed by this nasty stuff that goes into the corn. So much corn is poison. And 89% of all cotton acres rely on glyphosate. So they have these industrial cotton, but in the past they used to use arsenic, which is why arsenic across the Third World, where the British Empire grew cotton, now grows rice on the same fields that they used arsenic to keep down the boll weevil. The rice is full of arsenic and killing people. But here in Florida, we're just killing the microbiome by spraying glyphosate on everything. And that makes the soil die. And that makes damage to our environment very high. These people aren't paying for the damage they're doing to the environment. They say agriculture contributes $11 billion to the state's economy. Well, they should pay about $8 billion of that in fines and restitution for the destruction that glyphosate does to the land. And then maybe they'll understand the cost of using these poisons. Because we already know that there's a connection between using glyphosate and having lymphoma. There is a connection in clinical literature, and people have won lawsuits against Monsanto for this. Hundreds of millions of dollars because they are wrong and it's not safe to use, even though the Florida Department of Agriculture's outreach centers, the ones that come from University of Florida, they all say they're not allowed to comment on glyphosate beyond what it says on the label. The label says, according to study, it's safe to use as directed. And it's safe to drink, according to one of their scientists who wouldn't drink any of it. I think maybe many of you have seen that video. But it's just really, really, really horrible for me to see that this is going on, continually going on. This group says their purpose is to have farmers to access crop protection tools. No, they're access to poisons that none of us need. And if we actually put people in the fields to actually pick the weeds, because this isn't a pest control, this is a weed control, we would have a better idea. Also, if we would stop using massive industrial monoculture, corn, soybean, to make industrial products like corn oil and soybean oil that are basically industrial waste at this point, we could change everything if we would just stop doing this. Support small farmers. Break up the big industrial farms. Give them back to small farmers who take care of the land, instead of losing all the topsoil in the Midwest, which is what's happening currently. Over the last 100 years, we've lost most of the topsoil, like 50%, I think, is gone because of industrial farming techniques. I'd like to continue this conversation. This is the Healthy Steps radio show. I'm Dr. Fred Harvey, and we are on the best community radio station on the planet, WMNF Tampa.
Yes, and make this less of a soliloquy. Let's get other people to participate. Just give us a call to the Healthy Steps radio show here at WMNF Tampa by dialing 813-239-9663, and you can let your questions or concerns be aired on out here. You can also continue sending your emails to dj@wmnf.org. Again, the number to call is 813-239-9663. Back to you there, Doctor.
Thank you. Glyphosate, I've said a lot of things about it, but there's clinical evidence of what it does. It actually causes the healthy microbiome, the bacteria and fungus that live in the soil, to be starved of certain nutrients, so they fail. And so you get barren soil. And thus you have to keep re-nourishing it. And it costs a lot of money to do that. It's very expensive to do this kind of farming because you're constantly chasing the depletion because you don't do anything to replete the soil. It's not the way nature does agriculture. Nature just lets things drop and rot where it is. That creates compost, that creates topsoil. But on these big farms, they just burn the fields and put dead carbon back in. The burning also kills some of the microbiome. So when you burn the cane fields in South Florida, you're killing off the organisms that help sustain good agriculture. And the same thing happens in your gut, because the bacteria in your gut also need nutrients, and the glyphosate actually starves them of nutrients. But there's some other things in the Roundup that make the glyphosate penetrate into the plants better. There's some surfactants. These are kind of like solvents, and they open up fat layers so that things can get through them. They help deliver the chemicals. So actually, if we ingest things that actually have some of these surfactants on them because they've been sprayed on the plants and we eat the plants, then we're getting these things that also disrupt our gut lining. They disrupt our microbiome and cause inflammatory changes there. So eating these bad, poisoned foods is bad for us. It's bad for the environment, but it does make profit for these corporations that are basically making industrial products our food. It's really not a good situation. We all have an opportunity to make better decisions about what we're eating. If we stop eating the genetically manipulated foods, the sprayed foods, because we know that they came from sprayed crops, we can actually hurt the people that are doing this, hurt their businesses, make it less profitable for them to poison us. But that means we have to step away from the middle of the store. We have to step away from the processed foods. We need to step back to basic foods. I've been eating organic oats for years, and I found out about 2 years ago that many of the organic oats people actually, the growers, not the vendors, but the growers actually spray their organic oats with Roundup. Somehow they got around through some kind of loophole. It kills the plant, so it dries it out fast, so it can be harvested more quickly and doesn't mold when stored because it's dried. But that actually, we're eating a poison plant then. There are certain ethical growers who understand this, and there's an employee-owned company. The guy who owned it decided not to cash in and sell to venture capital and make some money. He sold to his own employees. This is Bob's Red Mill, and Bob's Red Mill has organic and non-organic stuff. But when I was reading a statement from the company, they realized that this was a problem, the glyphosate Roundup problem, because one of their growers was actually doing that to their organic oats. And they said, stop. And so they worked with their growers to stop spraying their organic oats with nasty poison. And so you can get clean foods out there. If you get organic, most things, they're not going to have been sprayed with the worst pesticides. And pesticides are another level. Glyphosate is an herbicide. It kills weeds, etc. But the pesticides, the organochlorine, the organophosphate, these things are neurologically active in humans, and they're neurodegenerative. There is association between these chemicals and the development of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's disease, like Parkinson's, ALS, MS. There's an activation that happens in the brain because of these weird chemicals. So that's even more reason to look for organic. The Environmental Working Group was looking at some really interesting information on. They look at all the pesticide residues on all the foods that we eat, and they make up the Dirty Dozen, which has the most pesticide residues, and the Clean 15, which has the least. There are two lists. They publish it every year after looking at the Department of Agriculture literature on the testing of all the foods in America, because our Department of Agriculture does test all the foods. They found one peach that had something like 17 different pesticide residues on it, because they mix the pesticides because they aren't all working. And so the nature of these things is that they're xenobiotics. That's different from life, different from what's shown up in living organisms. No living organism makes these things. These are made from organic chemicals that resemble organic chemicals that come from life, but they're not. They're synthetics. And so our bodies don't know what to do with them. And so they often have problems. And so the question just came through: is Agent Orange the same as glyphosate? No, actually, Rose. Agent Orange is another herbicide. It's an herbicide that was used during the Vietnam War, and it was sprayed in large amounts on the Vietnamese jungle so that our troops could find a way through the dense foliage. However, we found out that all of our troops that got exposed to it now have serious heart disease. It actually caused so much vascular inflammation. Many vets from NOM era are on heart-related disability because the Agent Orange ate holes in their blood vessels, essentially, or blocked them up. Actually, first it eats the hole, then you get spackled with cholesterol, and that forms plaque, and then they get blocked. It's a real problem. But the real problem is the glyphosate doesn't work as well as it used to because it's been overused in America. And now they're actually allowing to combine that with Agent Orange on American crops. So essentially they're creating a whole new set of Agent Orange exposed people so we can actually have more heart disease to treat in our future. It's brilliant. It's just such a great human health plan. Profit first, health second, right? And so, let's see, there's another one coming through. Bob asks, I hate Roundup. Is RFK against it too? Honestly, I really don't know. does he or has he published anything about that? I think he's more interested in the vaccine thing because there's somewhere out there that somebody's going to stand to profit from this whole scam that's going on. The new $500 million initiative to resurrect 20-year-old vaccine technology that's made using a carcinogenic agent that may be safe. I mean, the stuff I've just read on it is hilarious. I'm just waiting to find out who owns the companies that's going to get the contract to do the work here. So pay attention to the grift on this new vaccine initiative, and we'll see actually where that one goes. But let's see. I'm being told here by my quick research that he's a vocal critic of glyphosate, and his work has been amplified through his other organizations and his work with them. And I don't know, does Make America Healthy Commission do anything with this? It's hard to tell. Depends on who's going to make the most profit, I think. Hate to be so realistic, but I mean, that seems to be the way this stuff is being driven. But yeah, I'm really enjoying answering your emails, but it'd be really great to have somebody on the line. Let's remind everybody, this is WMNF Tampa, the Healthy Step Show.
I do have people on the line. I've got Nano in St. Pete, Harry, and Sarah that just came on in. So let's go to Nano in St. Pete. Good morning to you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi there. I can hear you.
Yeah, I've called in before, Dr. Harvey. I wrote a book called Florida's Farm Workers where I went into all of the details, a lot about pesticides. That was in 2005. But one of the things that I've done recently is I was working on writing about citrus greening and how all of the big corporations want to just spray antibiotic type things. They do use antibiotics and other pesticides on the fruit trees, but what they've actually found out with a number of people, I spoke to a number of people that have been citrus farmers, in generation citrus farmers, they are using cover crops. They have found that cover crops, do you know what cover crops are?
Absolutely. Cover crops are the things you actually, if you're doing regular with trees, you can't cut them down. But between regular plantings, you'll cover the field with a crop. And it's usually one that is a nitrogen fixer, something like sun hemp or something like that you'll put into the ground and put more protein into the ground.
Right. That's exactly what they use. I talked to one farmer he was about to get rid of his trees because he had such a problem with greening. And he left one area for a while that he didn't go back to. When he went back, all the weeds had come up and the trees were sprouting again. And he has had no trouble with those trees. They use sun hemp and various forms of clover. I can't recall all of them right now, but they're all vetch. There's a type of vetch. But
yes.
They're all nitrogen fixing, and they go into the ground. If you are interested in a lot of stuff like this, I don't know if you've ever heard of the website Civil Eats.
Civil
Eats, EATS, Civil Eats.
Cool.
And it's been around for almost 20 years now. They've
Excellent.
been highly awarded, of various things. And I've written several articles for them. They deal mostly with agriculture. They're just online. They don't have a physical presence. But
yes.
They do all kinds. I've interviewed organic farmers all over Florida, and many of them are really touting the cover crops. So that's a way to go. The other thing I wanted to mention is that diazinon, which you could find in Spectracide and a number of the other chemicals, some of them have been pulled, but bottles of spray that you can buy in Home Depot, diazinon is half of Agent Orange.
Yes.
And it's in those products.
Yes, Nan, I really appreciate your call. Last time I remember, and I meant to get the book, and I got busy and didn't, but Florida Farm Workers, that's your book.
Florida's Farm Workers in the 21st Century.
That's right.
I would like to update it, but nobody wants to talk about it. It's such a depressing subject. I'm worried about
Yes.
the farmers
Well, actually,
I know over in Central Florida that are probably getting chased around by ice right now.
no doubt, no doubt. I wonder when Americans are going to get into the fields.
I don't know. He's talking about opening up Alcatraz, I heard this morning. So
That would be a great place to incarcerate that felon, wouldn't it?
wow, I know. More to be revealed. All right, thank you. I just wanted to add a little something. You've got other callers, so I enjoy listening. Thank you for your show. Bye.
Thanks, Nan. Thanks for the call. Civil Eats, civileats.com, I think. I'll look it up here. But in the meantime, we have another on the line.
Yes, we do. I've got Harry who wants to ask a question and then hang up and listen to your answer. And I've got Sarah in Palm River. Let's go to Harry. Good morning, Harry.
Hello. I was wondering if you've heard of Save the Soil Foundation.
I have not, but there's another good one. Thanks for mentioning it.
And as well as, could I ask you what you think of, products that say no GMOs used or whatever? Do you think this is honest? Are they really not using GMOs if they have to say so on the product?
Well, we live in an age of disinformation. However, I am someone who believes in the goodness of the human spirit. And so I think many people are actually telling the truth. And I think that there are many people who are actually deceiving you purposefully. It's very difficult to actually wade through it. But sometimes you can use sites like, if, for example, looking at charities, there are groups that actually vet charities. So you can actually look and see if your charity is motivated with the right motivations or doing the right actions before you actually contribute to them. And the same thing happens with businesses. There's lots of ways to vet them, starting with even the Better Business Administration. But it is difficult, I agree. But I think that people that label it non-GMO, that have a certification agency involved saying that, yes, what they're saying is true here, it's more likely. But there are certain things, and I can't remember the name of there was a Natural Foods Association. I can't remember which one it was called, but they did a certification of your product by having you pay them $100 to join their group. It meant nothing.
Right. Yeah, that sounds good. I appreciate that. I just wrote that down. Do you think you could mention the Senate bill numbers again to call on?
It's House Bill 129 and Senate Bill 992. Vote no. Don't give the poisoners permission to poison without getting checked.
Excellent. I appreciate that. All right. The answer to all of this is to abolish all forms of currency now.
There are lots of opinions on that, and I won't touch that one because this is a health show.
Thank you very much. Great show, man. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Okay, we are down to just Sarah from Palm River in the queue. So I'm going to remind folks you are listening to the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa, and we're inviting you to participate by calling 813-239-9663. Irene's getting pretty lonely back there, so give us a jingle at 813-239-9663 because she does an excellent job. You can continue to send your emails to dj@wmnf.org. Good morning, Sarah.
Hi.
Hello, Sarah.
How are you doing?
Doing well. How are you today?
Good. I had read a couple of things that I was curious if you knew any further information about, not recently, but one thing was with strawberries in particular.
Yes.
And actually the brand Driscoll, that when they had gone apparently to court to try to be able to spray stuff on their strawberries and probably their other products, but still called it organic. And that perhaps some of the stuff that they were actually spraying on it was even worse than what they spray on the non-organic berries. Have you heard anything about that?
I don't know that you can have anything worse than the pesticides and herbicides that are used in general agriculture. some of the stuff that's actually used in organic agriculture is allowed to be called organic because it's plant derived. So pyrethrins are a organic. I believe they're organophosphate, but I'm not certain exactly the chemical nature, so don't quote me on it. But they are actually derived two ways. One, you can create them synthetically, or you can actually extract them from chrysanthemum flowers.
Right.
And the chrysanthemum gene is actually inserted into certain corn. So GMO corn makes its own chrysanthemum pyrethroid poison. And so it's actually in the corn. So it's poison corn. You can't get it out of there. So GMO corn actually has poison in the corn ready for you to eat. It's beautiful. So you can feed that to cows and poison them. And you can feed that to pigs and chicken and poison them. But it's permanently poisoned. You can't take it out. It's intrinsic in its nature. So pay attention to GMO corn. That's one of the worst ones out there. And so so people use those chrysanthemum extracts, pyrethroids, to spray on some of their crops, probably strawberries, because they are very tasty to pests. I just can't tell you which ones are being used where. You have to ask the grower. And yes, it does occur.
Okay. One thing about oats, too. Years ago, somebody had done a study, and they tested some oats, and even some of the organic brands, like you said, had some, I think, the glyphosate on it, and yes, maybe other things. And Bob's was one of the ones that they had found did have some poisons on it. And at the time, they said that Whole Foods brand oats was one of the cleanest oats. Do you know if, when you mentioned that Bob's had kind of cleaned that up, do you know how recently that was?
That was during the pandemic that I read they were doing that. So I think that whoever exposed that probably alerted them, because I bet Bob's Red Mill didn't know that their grower was actually poisoning their oats. And when they actually got the sample from, when somebody external source told them there was a problem, then it shifted their philosophy. I think they began to then explore with their growers what was going on.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, thank you there, Sarah. And I do have a near full board here. Let's go to Barbara in Tampa. Good morning, Barbara.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. I'm wondering what your opinion is, Dr. Fred, about the Parkinson's research and how it's being affected by the current administration's lack of credence in science. And I know that they had passed a bill, Biden signed it into law, that they were going to, see if they could help, find a cure for Parkinson's disease. And I'm wondering if now you think it's going to affect that progress.
Absolutely. Everything this administration is doing is going to affect progress globally. This administration is a regressive administration. Its goal is to cause regression. It has this idolized view of 1360 as a year to cherish as how our society should run. Feudal lords should be running everything and telling everybody what to do. And so when you have feudal lords making decisions about stuff that makes no sense, you end up with regression rather than progress. And yes, this is a threat to all of us.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess you just got to look at some positive, happy things, and let people see there's still that available.
Well, what I see as positive is that when human hearts get crushed by severe austerity programs and bizarre, divisive, cruel actions, we come together and love tends to prevail. And I think that many non-government organizations are coming into power because they're being promoted by the hearts of people that are being hurt by these actions. And so I believe we're going to see the world become better because of the actions of the people who are trying to make it worse.
Well, that's good.
Yes, I'm an optimist, and I've watched this over the 64 years of my existence, and what I see is that people respond to challenges well. America responded to the challenge of World War II very well. And we can respond to challenges because hearts actually work together. It's when we divide each other that it seems things aren't working, but the division brings together groups of people that love to love, that they don't want the cruelty, that they want to help people. And so we're going to see lots more action going on, and I'm already seeing it on social media. Many people are really beginning to work harder together because of the pressures being put on them by the psychosis of what's going on in Washington.
Right, I agree. It's psycho.
But really, a cure for Parkinson's is not going to be found easily because cures aren't really the way biology works. We need to find balance. We need to find stability. And the poisons in our food disrupt the balance and stability. We need to stop eating tasty food-like substances and go back to eating whole foods. We need outdoor activity. We need clean water. We need relationships with other people. These are the things that heal. Pills don't heal. Pills change our perception of what's wrong, but they don't heal.
Right. There's a lot of work to do.
There's so much work to do, and it's so fun to do it when you have an understanding that love is nature's greatest healer. And all we need to do is look at each other with more love, and we will change this planet.
Well, thank you for all your inspiration.
You're so welcome. I love you.
Love you too, Dr. Fritz. Bye.
Have a great day.
And thank you there very much, Barbara. I've got Nina from Sarasota and Warren from Bradenton. Let's go to Nina. Good morning, Nina.
Morning, all. Thank you for the wonderful show, as always, Dr. Harvey.
You're welcome.
Quick question. Is bitters mixed with a little bit of water good for GERD? Or what is
that's a good question.
Yeah.
Bitters is a combination of herbs, bitter herbs. And it's been known as a digestive in the past. Many European cultures have used them for years. And one of the biggest herbs in bitters has been gentian, G-E-N-T-I-A-N. And it's a stimulant for digestion. And it may help you move things through better.
Oh, okay.
But as a treatment for GERD, not sure. It could go either way because it increases the action in your gut.
Okay.
A better treatment for GERD would be to avoid things that have histamine in them or things that trigger histamine, things like strawberries and tomatoes, avocados, and alcohol.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's awesome. Great. I wasn't sure, but a little bit of bitters mixed with a little water to try just to see if it worked. It would either work or not for your...
Yes. You could try it for a few days, and if after a couple of days you're still having it, then that's not going to work. But it may take it away. People have used these for centuries.
Okay. And I hear that people have, as we age, our bodies actually produce less acid. If you produce more, it's the same symptom or same feeling, producing less or more acid. Is that right? As you age, your body produces less digestive acid?
Well, sometimes it does, and that is a possibility. The issue that I've seen mostly with GERD is that, yeah, people get triggered. Their guts get triggered, and quite often it's histamine foods.
Okay, got it. All right, we'll look into that.
That would be the second thing I would attack there.
Okay, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you there, Nina. And we're down to about the last 15 minutes, so I'm going to give out the number to participate one more time. If you want to be part of the Healthy Steps Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa, give us a call at 813-239-9663. That number to call, again, is 813-239-9663. And Warren called that number, so we're going to put him on the air. Good morning, Warren.
Good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
I had a question regarding neuropathy of my arms. I was wondering if there's any hope for relief from this. It's painful.
That's a vague question about a vague issue. And so neuropathy has lots of different causes and different iterations. And so the cause for your neuropathy would include within that an answer about whether it's going to get better or not often. So how did you get neuropathy?
I believe I had a neck injury. I went to a pain management thing, and they did an epidural, which I don't recommend, by the way.
Uh-huh.
They did it twice. It gave me relief for 2 weeks, and then it came back. And in fact, I only had it in my right arm at that time, and after they got done treating me, it has spread to my other arm. So I'm not recommending that treatment to anybody. I do take alpha lipoic acid, about 600 milligrams, and I do seem to get some relief from that. And I was wondering if there's anything else I can do to...
There's lots of things. It sounds like you've only tried one thing. Usually associated with epidurals, you'll be sent for some physical therapy. Did you get physical therapy?
No.
Then they from my perspective, that was negligent. If they didn't do anything to help your body while they were pretending to help your spine, then they didn't help you. And have you had massage therapy?
No.
Muscle activation technique therapy?
No.
How about chiropractic?
No.
Okay. So all of these modalities are potentials, including acupuncture. You might want to consider going to a better doctor than the one that didn't help you and actually look at a different, a couple different methods of trying to get out of the problem.
Interesting. So acupuncture possibly?
Chiropractic, massage therapy, physical therapy, acupuncture, class 4 laser, muscle activation technique. There's, 6 different possible interventions.
It sounds like I need to get busy.
Yeah.
Exploring some different areas of this. So there is some hope out there then.
Absolutely. I see people get better from things like this all the time.
Excellent. Well, thank you for giving me some hope. I'm going to look into some of that, and I'll try anything at this point.
Go for it. I think any one of those would be a great place to start.
I will do that. Thank you, Doc. I appreciate your advice.
Best wishes.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Hope you feel better.
Yes, indeed. And best of luck to you there, Warren. We're down to a little over about 10 minutes, so the board's gone dark here. I'll give you a second there, Doc, to read a couple emails while I remind folks they're listening to the Healthy Steps radio show here on WMNF Tampa. And you've only got a couple of more minutes to call on in to 813-239-9663. Again, the number to call is 813-239-9663, or continue to send your emails to dj@wmnf.org. What have you got there, Doctor?
Well, here's one, a good one from Ramil. Asks, can you speak about the trend to sell cut veggies at the grocery store for convenience? I don't think it's a great trend. The processing of your whole vegetables into cut up pieces adds a layer of contamination. When anybody touches something, there's a potential for introducing bacteria. And we found that these baby carrots, they're, in quotations, baby carrots, they're actually misshapen, malformed carrots that go through this thing that cuts them up into size and then beats their, flays the outside of them so that they look like they've been peeled. Those have been shown to actually occasionally be contaminated with bacteria like E. coli. In addition, once you've taken the skin off of your vegetable, you're actually going to let it dehydrate. You'll probably start oxidizing it too and lose some of the vitamin content. And so, yes, it may be convenient. If you're planning on actually grabbing a convenient salad for lunch, that's one thing. But buying bags and bags of conveniently cut up vegetables to use in your regular cooking is expensive and potentially risky. Not the worst thing you could do because you're getting fresh vegetables, and that's really the critical part of this. But yeah, you don't really want contaminated fresh vegetables. Here's one from Peter. So, Doc, I've been put on metformin. I'm in my early 60s and being bombarded with ads on social media. Put a couple drops on your tongue of this liquid made out of rare plants in Japan, or here's a breakthrough that Elmu is pushing to help metabolize sugar in my veins. Is there any of this stuff that's legit, or is it all out there to make a quick buck in social media land? Well, I believe that there is a lot of stuff going on here to make a quick buck. You can see the marketers, they're everywhere. And so I think that sticking to the basics of doing a whole food diet, metformin is fine. But if you're on metformin and you haven't actually tried alpha lipoic acid in a time-release 600 milligram tablet already, that's my go-to pre-metformin pill because it works like metformin but doesn't have the potential toxic side effects or adverse consequences, and it doesn't have it also, in addition, it has antioxidant effect that helps make the liver happy. And so metformin doesn't do that. So for me, if you get a result with alpha lipoic acid, great. If not, then a medication might be necessary. I think we have callers again.
Indeed, we do. That last shout-out seemed to do something. I've got Mark, Linda, and Charlie. Good morning, Mark.
Hello, Doc. How are we doing today?
Great. How are you, Mark?
Oh, any better couldn't stand myself. The reason I called is I was diagnosed, someone else called about neuropathy, but I have CRPS. And it's
terrible.
Mostly in my legs, but there's discoloration of the pigment. There, the exploding of my toes. It feels like it's exploding. Nerves. Just boom, boom, boom. And it's been going on for probably for about 10 years or so.
Oh, wow. You've been doing this a long time. Hey, have you had any class 4 laser therapy?
No, but that's not covered by insurance.
No, but I've watched it work on numerous cases with chronic regional pain syndrome. Reflex sympathetic dystrophy is another name for it. And it has improved people that have had it for years, turned it around. People have had it for months. I even had one lady that actually came into the office 3 days after a blood draw and had already started to get the skin changes in that arm. And 3 weeks later, it was gone because of class 4 laser. It's worth paying money for the class 4 laser.
And where would one look?
Physical therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists, they all tend to have class 4 lasers. Don't do a class 3 cold laser. Walk away, get the class 4 hot laser. You'll be much happier with the result.
Are there any good, decent doctors around the area here?
Well, one of the region's experts is in Sarasota, Dr. Daniel Knapp, Knapp. He has published articles on it. He has taught at the University of Miami on it, and he is probably the longest using and most skilled laser therapist in the west coast of Florida.
I see. Because I know that there's a place in Italy that they...
Yeah, you could travel, but why not just get in the car? I would rather get in the car than going across the ocean to get the same therapy. Class 4 laser is class 4 laser.
Yeah. So class 4 laser.
Yes.
Okay.
Get back to us on how that worked for you, Mark, because I think that if you've been dealing with this long and it feels this badly, I'd go for full tilt laser therapy.
Because it's life-changing.
It will be life-changing. I'm certain. If it works for you, you will be astonished.
Wow. I will do research on it. I appreciate it, Doc.
You're very welcome. Daniel Knapp, Knapp, Sarasota. The Florida's expert.
Daniel who?
Knapp, Knapp.
Oh, Knapp. Oh, I used to know a Knapp. Yeah, okay. Okay, doctor, I thank you very much for your time and attendance.
You're very welcome.
Okay, you have a good day.
You too. I think I'll move over to emails now since we're down to the last minute and a half.
Okie doke, sounds like a plan.
So this is from Melinda. Good morning, Dr. Harvey. I apologize that this is unrelated to glyphosate, but do I have any recommendations on dental implants? I don't know that there's any major difference between zirconia and titanium. It's a foreign body is a foreign body. They're both very low reactivity. Titanium, for me, is only an issue if you're actually having friction on it. So if you have a titanium hip and you have two pieces of metal rubbing on each other, you get metal fragments coming out. They found that in a implant that was done in the mid-2000s, like 2004, 5, 6. They had stopped using it by 2007 because there was so much metal getting into the body around the joint. It was ruining it. They screwed up on that one in a major way. But that's not used anymore. And your teeth don't move around. There's no friction. So I don't know if there's a problem with either one of those. I'd go with the one that has less likelihood of breaking. And I think the zirconia is as hard as a diamond, so it's probably like titanium, not likely to break. And is it true that dental implants can interfere with the meridians, the acupuncture, the Chinese energetic meridians causing problems? Well, each meridian is a different meridian. It's not nervous system. It's actually energy system. And so one meridian is going to deal with an organ here. Another one's going to deal with an organ there. But I think it's the eye teeth or the first incisor or first bicuspid is associated with breast. And I've seen several women that had abscesses in those teeth that had breast cancer. So there is a possibility of some sort of energetic reaction there, energetic condition. And here's another question. Do I have any recommendations on a red light therapy brand targeting the thyroid nodule? Actually, I've never heard of using red light therapy for a thyroid nodule, and I don't actually know of a brand. I recommend that people go for laser therapy rather than red light. Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I haven't gone there, but I just want to really thank all of our callers today. Some great questions, some great interaction, and really appreciate the mention of civileats.com and savesoil.foundation. Thanks again, everybody. See you next week.
And thank you, Doctor, and thanks for all of our callers and all of our listeners. And especially I want to thank Irene for handling the phones today. I could not do the show without her. And everybody out there, take care, stay healthy. Y'all are the greatest. You have been listening to the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa. Coming on up next is 5 minutes of NPR News, followed by the Sustainable Living Show, hosted by the A#1 team of Andy Ellis and Tanya Vidovic. Until next Monday at 10 a.m., thank you for supporting and listening to the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa, your community conscious radio station. Stay safe, stay thoughtful, and know that you are loved.